Hello students, today in this video I'll be giving you the explanations of the poem Animals of Class 10 English from the book First Flight. The poem Animals was written by Walt Whitman, and let's first of all talk about the poet. Walt Whitman is one of the most prominent American poets, and he was born in 1819 in a place called Long Island. He received his education in Brooklyn. He then moved from one profession to another as office boy, printer, teacher, carpenter, reporter, and even editor. He was more of a vagabond than anything else. His first volume of poems, Leaves of Grass, was published in 1855, and it showed a new mode of writing. He published Leaves of Grass 10 times with additions and corrections. Among his other popular poems are Passage to India, published in 1871, and Drum Taps, published in 1865, and Goodbye My Fancy, published in 1891. He wrote in free verse without any restraint, and many of his poems seem to be prose poems. But some critics refused to admit him as a poet. But although soon he acquired a prominent position in American poetry. So the poem Animals is from his work Song of Myself in Leaf of Grass. Walt Whitman is a great American poet, and he is known as the poet of democracy. The poem Animals shows his love for the world of animals, and he has also shown the comparison between human beings and animals in this poem. The poet feels like going back to his animal self. He thinks that human beings are selfish, false, and discontented. Human beings weep over their sins, whereas animals have no sense of sinfulness. Animals have no sense of being superior or inferior. Implicitly, the poet has a dig at the sulking, selfish, discriminatory, and hypocritical nature of man. Now let's read the poem. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-content. I stand and looked at them long and long. Here placid means calm or peaceful. Content means keep up control. In the first stanza, the poet says that he wants to live in the world of animals. Here we can see that the poet finds the world of animals better than that of human beings. He further says that he finds animals more peaceful than humans. He says so because animals are not running after worldly things like human beings. They are calmed, or the animals are calmed, and they have no greed for worldly things or any kind of achievements. They are self-content, or the animals are self-content, which means they are happy with life and never interfere in the lives of others. But humans have the habit of interfering in the lives of others. So the poet thinks that animals are better than humans for being calmed and not interfering in the matters of others. The poet further says that these are the reasons why he stands still and looks at the animals for a very long time. They do not sweat and wind about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Here, sweat means complaint, wind means cry, sins means wrongdoing, and demented means mad or disturbed. In this stanza, the poet says that unlike humans, animals don't complain of any misery, and they never cry out loud like humans do to show what they have lost, and they never stay awake in the night crying in repentance for their wrongdoings or sins. This means that animals are different from human beings because they don't show anger or grief if something wrong happens with them. The poet further says that animals are very truthful because they never boast of their good deeds done in the name of God. The poet says so because most of the human beings do this, or they try to show their good deeds and religiousness to others. And the poet also says that they do so, or the people do so, in order to gain popularity among their fellows. So the poet thinks that animals never irritate him by doing such things just to gain some praise from their fellow people. The poet feels that the animals are not dissatisfied like humans. They stay happy with whatever they have. They never run behind worldly things. They never try to possess things of comfort or luxury. He says that, or the poet says that, none of them is mad behind owning the worldly things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth, so they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself, they evince them plainly in their possession. Kneels means bow down, and evince means show or reveal. Possession means ownership of something, and tokens, here it means the qualities. Here the poet says that he has never seen any animal showing his devotion to anyone by bowing down in front of the person. They never do so even for their ancestors. They do not show devotion towards God like humans do. No one among them is more respectable or important as we have in human society. In human beings, rich people are generally given more importance and are treated with more respect as compared to the poor people. But in the society of animals, they never do so. They never give more or less importance to any other animal. Everyone in the animal world is happy, and they are not like human beings who find themselves the happiest or the saddest person on earth. Further, the poet says that humans are more honest in showing their relations with other animals. Here, the poet wants to say that animals use other animals as their food and they never try to hide this, whereas human beings show that they have nice and friendly relations with others, though the reality is opposite. The poet says that he accepts the fact that animals are true towards showing the relation with other animals. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? Here negligently means carelessly. So at last the poet introspects himself and says that from where the animals got those good qualities. He further questions himself that where his own good qualities are gone. Did he left them or had carelessly lost them somewhere? The qualities that were found in human beings in the past, like innocence, kindness, truthfulness, are now seen in animals. He wonders, or the poet wonders, that humans gave up these qualities and they have been passed on to the animals. Now let's see the literary devices used in the poetry. The first one is metaphor. Sweat and wind refer to the cries and complaints of human beings. And another metaphor is used again. The inner qualities of humans are referred to as tokens. And the third literary device used is repetition. The use of word longed is being repeated. The other important literary device is free verse. So the poet has used no meter or rhymed in his poetry. The poetic effect is created through free flowing rhythm of lines, and the words are so repeated and stressed that they create essential poetic effect. For example, in the lines, they do not sweat and wind about their condition, they do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. And the other important literary device is again alliteration. The use of alliteration is vivid in some lines. For example, the mania of owing things. Here, the repetitions of n sound. And the other alliteration we can see is that they do not lie awake in the dark. Okay, here the repetitions of k sound. Okay, these are the important literary devices used in the poetry. The poetry animals gives us a clear message that humans should try to be calm, or we all should try to be calm, relaxed and contented. And human, or we should learn from animals who are free from many human vices. We should free ourselves from the mania of possessing more and more things. And there is no use of grumbling over our conditions. We should remain happy and contented in all circumstances. Like animals, we should not suffer needlessly from any sense of morality or immorality. We should set false sense of respectability, as no one is superior or inferior. We should stop discriminating man from man in the name of religion, race, caste or complexion. And very importantly, we should be free from hypocrisy. So the animal world can provide many lessons to us human beings. So dear students, that's all for today's class. Hope you understood the lesson, The Poetry Animals, written by Walt Whitman. Thank you.